Hi, and welcome to the Saltbridge Farm podcast. My name is Dennis, and I'm your host. And today we have a very special guest here, Kim Veith, CEO of Bright Harbor Healthcare.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you. I know you're super busy. You travel. We're just in Arizona this week, and I know you got a lot going on. It's a very large organization, so I really appreciate your time.
Sure, it's an honor to be here. This is such a Saltbridge Farm is really such an amazing project, and it's very close to my heart. And so I love to be able to be here.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. People are getting very excited. They've seen episode one drop and
Okay,
had a lot of feedback from that. Actually, Mrs. Lewis, who used to live here, she hit me up and she's like, Dennis, I'm ready to do the show. So
I
I'm
can't
so
wait.
excited for that. Yeah.
That'd be great.
So as soon as she gets back from her travel, she'll be on the show. And that's going to be really great. So people are starting to see it happen. And I love to see that. And what I love about the show is that we actually get to document it almost every step of the way
Okay.
so people can watch it grow and see a movement happen before their very eyes. So,
I'm so happy for Mrs. Lewis too. I know that this property was really the heartbeat of her family, and
mhm.
she told me the story when we were first talking about purchasing the property of when she and her husband drove here. They had, I think, Heather was born, and I'm not sure about whether Becky was here or not yet. And the house was really small, and Mrs. Lewis just talked about getting teary-eyed and telling her husband that she really just felt something and wanted this property, and so I know that they bought it and then invested their really all of their time and their money and talent. Mr. Lewis built a lot of I know he built part of the upstairs
Mm.
and the barn, and it was just really, besides being a math teacher, really talented woodworker, and I know some of that he passed on to, their older daughter, Heather, who's also a really talented furniture refinisher and,
Mhm.
really creative. So, I'm just excited that she gets to see the vision of what, we told her.
Yeah, and she tells me she's very happy we're here, and that's really just quite an honor for her to get the blessing of the former homeowner for that.
Yeah.
And
It's such a special property. I think I've shared with you before that, so had their older daughter, Heather, and I were, met at youth group at church as middle schoolers and then just became really good friends. And so as a teenager, I spent a lot of time here on this property, and so funny that 40-ish years later,
mhm.
it would be still meaningful, but in a different way. It's really hard to describe the feeling.
Yeah, I bet. It's a pretty magical place. We've had a lot of people out to visit, and everybody's just kind of blown away with the property, and then blown away with the plans that are in motion right now.
Right,
And I'm very excited to see that happen, however that turns out to be. But
right.
doing a lot of work getting bids and proposals and
Okay.
blueprints and that kind of thing going. Just a matter of making it happen. But we have a pretty good team here.
Yep.
Bright Harbor, everyone that I've met's been very supportive. And they're like, okay, how can we work together? And watching that overlap happen, I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are invested in the success of this project. It's a way to just really be creative and teach people about the importance of working with soil and land and tending things and teaching how to grow and taking care of wildlife and just getting outside of yourself while still also having a safe place to live and recalibrate and restart. And I get I just am so excited about what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Not exactly sure how licensing is going to end up and
Mhm.
everything, but we do know that things are in the works.
Mhm.
Things are happening. Land's getting cleared. We're starting to plant. Starting to have volunteer projects. We're working on a app right now that's gonna kind of be a. You can sign up. You can order produce. You can do all the things in the app itself.
That's great.
So very excited for that. We have a pretty good team. We have everything we need,
Good.
and we're starting to grow volunteer opportunities. And so one of the things we're working on is a vibrant internship program,
Okay.
which I'm very excited for. And then, of course, just regular volunteer opportunities for all walks of life, all different types of folks.
Right.
So, and we hope to grow community here besides just crops.
And I think part of what's so exciting about that is the moving Bright Harbor in the direction of growing community and helping to build strong, healthy communities. I think for so long, so prior to 2021, we were called Ocean Mental Health Services.
Mhm.
And we had a very proud history from 1959 of till 2021 having that name. And I think for a time such as that, it talked about, or the name spoke to what we did. But I think over the past 10 years or so, we've really been very intentional about moving away from only focusing on mental health services, but
Mhm.
rather being a good steward in the community
Mhm.
and working with folks that are struggling with addiction. Having primary care is very important as well. People who struggle with serious, chronic, persistent mental illness tend to die 25 years before their counterparts in the general population because they don't get preventative medical care.
Mm.
So, making sure that we have the things that people need to be successful has really been what we've been more intentional about more recently. Making sure that people have something to eat if they need something to eat, that we can try and help them find somewhere to stay if they need housing. We have a socialization program for the elderly, which is something that we had never had prior. And there's no need for a diagnosis. There's no need to have a challenge. It's just somewhere where we've opened our doors and said, hey, come visit with one another and, do a craft or play a game. So it really is integrating and being a part of the community in a way where everybody succeeds.
I love it. I've never seen an organization do so much. And I've been talking to people, talking to directors, and I'm just learning stuff today, and that's incredible. And you have a very passionate team,
I do.
very passionate team who are just so involved in what they do. I love it. It's been a blessing to meet them, and I'm excited to see how we can grow and how we can all work together and work for the community is like a servant mindset. How
Uh-huh.
can we help the community? What are their needs? Not our agenda, but for
Right.
for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when the people we serve are doing well, then we're doing well too, right? It's
Mhm.
about doing well all together. And I can't agree with you enough about the strong team and the leadership and the passion. I guess what I'm trying to say is every single person that works with us has that same level of passion,
Mhm.
and that is just to make sure that they're leaving the world better than they found it. And so when you get almost 500 people in one place that have that same sort of synergy and mindset. What happens is this movement that we're experiencing right now toward just really connecting in ways that we hadn't in the past.
That's just it. It's a movement. And when I first came here, I recognized that. I'm like, this is a movement. I know I've been a part of movements before, and
Uh-huh.
I recognize it when I see it. And it's something bigger than me. It's something bigger than all of us. And it's like we're just a little cog in the great machine of whatever this movement is doing.
Uh-huh.
And it's just really wonderful to be a part of it.
Agreed. I actually feel really grateful to be able to work with people like you and some of the other folks that, I get to come to work with every day.
Mhm.
They say that whole, if you love what you do, it never feels like work.
Mhm.
And that's really true for me.
Oh,
But
yeah.
there's also that piece of, and I'm excited every day to see what's next and what the next good idea is or how we're going to be able to meet people's needs better. It's really a cool thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to show you some of the ideas I have when the time comes. And I'm excited to see all the other ideas that these group of talented people, very creative people, loving, compassionate, caring people have, and just love to see what this is going to turn out to be.
Yeah.
Yep, I have some ideas and some things on the drawing board, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I believe that what's meant to be will be meant to be. And yeah, very excited for that.
Me too. I think it will be a place there'll be something for everybody.
Mhm.
Whether you are living here because you need a reprieve and a time to just get reorganized and get ready to get back out in the world, or if you're going to be a volunteer or, helping us to grow crops or tend to animals
Mhm.
or all of the things that we've talked about wanting to do here. I can't wait to see what it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm excited to see events here. We could
Mhm.
help all the other directors in their programs and help other people do fundraising, and
Sure.
sky's the limit.
And there's really the sustainability piece too around, having some animals, having chickens, having crops, and being able to utilize that not just to sell
Mhm.
and help us with revenue stream, but also to help feed the youth at our school,
Mhm.
to help feed some of the folks in our group homes.
Mhm.
We have literally almost 300 beds that people are sleeping in under our supervision on any given night, and
Wow.
all of those people could be benefiting or will be benefiting from this. Yeah, Bright Harbor takes care of about 7,000 people at any given time, but 300 or so folks are either living under one of our roofs or are in independent living but under our supervision.
Wow, that's quite the responsibility. But I know we have just the best team, and I have no, I've seen other organizations, and for me, some of the places felt like it's just numbers and
Mm.
seeing how much we can make with billing and all these things. But what I feel here is that people genuinely care, and that's so refreshing that clients aren't just a number.
Absolutely not. And I think, there'd be some people on the team right now that might be side-eyeing me a little bit because I talk quite a bit about productivity
Hmm.
and revenue streams. And, there's a part of healthcare that's hard to talk about because it feels distasteful
Hmm.
to kind of, remember that it is a business and we do need to have services and billing and productivity measures, but that hopefully is the discussion that's in the background, and
Hmm.
what's in the foreground is that we're here, we're mission driven, and our work is really to love and serve.
Yeah, I totally agree. We care about sustainability with the environment, but also financial sustainability. We want to make
Agreed.
sure this keeps going. That's one of the things in the back of my mind is I'm helping with this project is, yeah, we gotta, be stewards of the land, but also stewards of the resources to make sure it keeps going, and it's not just okay, here it is,
Ta-da.
funding's out, time to shut it down.
Or, we do have to come up with some ways to be a business in order to keep the lights on so that people can come through.
Hmm.
So it's exactly what you're talking about. But some of those, you never want it to be an unbalanced conversation around only focusing on the business and not on the people, because the
Hmm.
people are why we're here in the first place.
Yeah, that's right. And that's something that I have to remember myself is what's the primary focus of the program. Sometimes I have to draw myself back a little bit. All right, Dennis, you're thinking about this agricultural production a little too much. Let's think about housing now. So, absolutely.
And housing is really how this started, how this
Hmm.
idea had started. Right now in Ocean County and maybe everywhere in the United States, we are for sure in a housing crisis. You and I were just talking about it a little bit before we started, where there is availability in units, but they are not affordable for most people.
Hmm.
And so I think the figure was something like a full-time, minimum wage job in this area grosses around between 23 and $2,400. I don't remember the exact figure off the top of my head per month. And so most rent is more than that. So the amount that you would need to be working in order to be um, able to afford somewhere to live and transportation and health insurance and food and utilities and those kinds of things is just untenable for most people right now.
Hmm.
And so we wanted to provide a safe place for youth 18 to 24, which is a little bit what we were talking about too before we started, how our children who maybe have a little bit more stability than some other children. I shouldn't call them children, our young adults
Yes.
will struggle to be able to afford a home in this current environment, and that's with stability and some of the things that they've needed. So for our youth who maybe don't come from the best of backgrounds, they have even less options. And
Mhm.
so creating somewhere for them to be was really very important to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And the roof over their head, but also the ability to learn skills
Right.
and give them some resilience that when they do move out, that they'll be fine because they'll land on their feet because they can get a job, they have some job skills. And that's not always passed on if the parental units aren't there,
Right.
or, you know, if they're not getting that skill set, then
Right.
they're at a disadvantage.
Or if they don't have the experience of community, right?
Mhm.
So that's part of why we're building community so that they feel accountable to and responsible for other people as well. Growing up, our family had a friend who was a dentist. And when I was a teenager, he gave me a job in his office and said, I have 4 daughters. They're all grown, but each and every one of them learned how to be a dental assistant just so that if anything ever happened in the career they chose, they'd have something to be able to fall back on. So
Mhm.
that was a skill that I was gifted as a teenager. Gratefully, I've never used it, and
Mhm.
I've never had to. But that's the kind of thing that we can be giving to people in community, or skills that they can fall back on as they
Oh
work
yeah.
through life.
No, my dad used to say that dentists, they can take everything you own, but they can never take your skills.
Mm.
And just knowing that, I've always had it in me to try to get as much skills as I can. And next thing you know, I can do all these things that's helped me bounce back when life hits me upside the head, and find myself in these situations. But I know that I can bounce back because I have that skill set. And I love mentoring young people.
Mhm.
Um, it brings me such joy. I love watching things grow, whether it's
Uh-huh.
in the field or with these youngsters who are just starting out life, just getting ready to, just becoming adults. And just, I don't know. I just absolutely love it.
I agree. It's really exciting to watch anything grow.
Hmm.
And I would even add maybe a little bit, maybe this is the therapist in me, but
Hmm.
I love to watch people set a goal and get there, right? Like when they feel proud of
Hmm.
themselves. Like nothing brings me more joy to watch somebody accomplish something that they wanted to accomplish and feel really good about themselves.
Hmm.
And I think that there's going to be a lot of that here.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see it. And it's going to be interesting to have our team of interns working with, alongside the young adults in the program itself,
Right.
and just to see that, like, the young adults might not have been around people their age
Right.
in college, and it's kind of nice to show them just that, and have the mix of people. And then also we'll have the older folks coming here.
Hmm.
My older builder buddies, I can't wait to build with you guys. We'll get this barn in shape, but to
Right.
have that cross generational mentorship then too.
I love that. Let me ask, when you say interns, I know we've talked about it a little
Hmm.
bit, but do you mean social work interns or
Nope.
environmental
Yep.
interns
It's
or
it's
all of the
it's going
above?
to be our first non-clinical group of interns,
Okay.
which I'm excited for.
Okay.
So we'll have a video production team.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, and they'll get to work with all the other directors in the
Okay.
agency,
Okay.
and work with recruitment, and I love producing. I love being the director, and you need a good team. You need someone to run the camera. You need someone to do
Right.
lighting. You need
Right.
someone for editing. You need someone for sound. So like a 4-person team. And the way I used to do it is a semester program. We'll have deliverables 1 week, 2 week, 3 week. And so they know going
Okay.
into it what it is. But then also we'll have sustainability interns and agriculture interns.
Agriculture.
Yep.
Okay. I was thinking maybe ecology or biology. So that makes good sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to make it competitive, because what we're doing here is very cutting edge.
Yeah.
So it won't be just our local interns, but it'll go out to Rutgers, it'll go out to Cornell, it'll
Mm.
go out to UC,
Okay.
Arizona, all of these places,
Right.
and they will come.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
Yep.
Go Scarlet Knights.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's just it's such a blessing to watch something ground zero grow because I know it's going to grow. There's so much energy behind it, so much um, belief in what's happening here, so many talented people that's a part of it. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah. I mean, look, just look at the land, look out the window. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I love coming out in the morning and seeing the deer just running around, the little animals. I put a short of a little chipmunk eating cherries or little fruit the other day. It was just so beautiful, so precious, and for people to get to be able to see that. And not everybody around here has the opportunity.
Right.
You know, it's most people are kind of packed in, and they
Yeah.
don't have the ability to be on land and all this acreage that we have here, and then to get the farm going. That's going to be so exciting. We'll do hay rides. We'll do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So very excited for that.
It's going to be great.
So would you mind sharing with me how this idea was pitched to you and how you decided to go along with it?
Sure. One of the good things that came out of COVID were some additional funds to take care of some of the difficulties that we experienced during COVID. One of the things that really came to pass was that people were hungry
Mm,
and people had unstable housing. And so I think that Kelly and I were just having a conversation on the phone one day. I was in Pennsylvania. I remember she called. I was driving out there for a conference and she called and she said, I someday I'd really like to have a farm. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, it's really my vision that we have land and animals and somewhere for people to live. My grandfather had a farm. I grew up on a farm. And I think that the values that you can teach people on a farm are something that we could be doing creatively. And that was in the context of us on the leadership team really kind of talking about how can we still be Ocean Mental Health Services, but also become Bright Harbor Healthcare? How can we keep that real base of who we are, but also become more of what we'd like to be around community integration and building a strong community? And so I think she just got brave and said, "This is what I would like." And I thought, "Oh, yeah, well, we've, historically done a little bit of growing at some of the programs, and I always wanted to go to the farm market, but we didn't get a chance to do that. And I agree with you in the value in growing, but I don't know what that would look like. And could we get a cow? Because if we can get a cow, then maybe we can make this work." And so it really was Kelly's vision,
mm,
but then just kind of having different ideas about how to bring it to life. And so she wrote a very, very creative grant around funding funding the farm. And simultaneously, the county released some ARPA dollars, the COVID dollars, that could be used to combat homelessness. And Kelly said, I think this might be our chance to at least try. And I
mhm,
said, absolutely. We absolutely have to try it. And it was a little scary because it was, it's only capital, which is a different kind of grant for us. And we're really needing to make sure that we're providing homes for people that would otherwise be homeless. So that's really the heart of the project, but what else comes along with it? And the really fun part has just been all of that dreaming that goes along with how to provide homeless people with alternatives. Often in behavioral health, we're very mired by regulations.
mhm,
New Jersey is, I'm sure it won't be a surprise to most people listening to this, but New Jersey is a place where we are very over-regulated in some ways, specifically in healthcare. And so the way we take care of people is very dictated by the state of New Jersey and not necessarily all the time by creativity, by individuality, by meeting people where they're at and giving them the things that they need. And so this is an opportunity to build that without a whole lot of regulation.
Mhm.
Of course, we will be monitored and there will be some regulation, but we will have some creativity to do things here that we typically wouldn't be able to do.
And it's gonna do so well. I already see it. And then all of these regulators be like, "Oh yeah, look what we've done here. It's so good." And then I could really see this idea being replicated. And to me, it's like a demonstration garden, a demonstration farm, a demonstration program of what can be done when we think outside of the box.
That would be my hope.
Mhm.
Is I understand that again, healthcare is a business and we certainly need to show insurance companies what we're doing for their reimbursement.
Mhm.
But this is a different kind of model. And so I'm excited about what that could become.
Yeah, me too. And what's nice is we have this podcast, so you can just watch the whole progress and
Yeah.
go back from episode one till episode in the future. So when people are thinking about replicating, they can watch the
Right.
whole process.
Agreed.
Yep.
Finding the land was, I think, one of the first challenges. And so for anybody trying to replicate it, it'll be trying to figure out where the best place is. And when we had first gotten the grant dollars and started to look for somewhere, there's not a lot of farmland left
Hmm.
in Ocean County. And so the chief of police at the time, Mitch Little, he's since retired, but he was on our board and he knew the gentleman across the street that owned Silverton Farms. And so he brought us over there to just kind of talk about the project. And while we were there, Mr. Nivison pointed across the street and said, that house is for sale across the street and there's a few acres there. And
Hmm.
so everything went from there. We started to talk to Mrs. Hopkins, her name is Hopkinson, and she was so kind and so gracious to sell us. Again, it was a home that her husband had built
Mm.
where she had raised her family, and it was near and dear to her. She took care of a lot of cats, and there were a lot of animals on the property, and she was entrusting us with her legacy, really.
Hmm.
And so, that was the first piece of it, and then I had mentioned that I had known, the Lewises, and so I had reached out to Heather and said, "We we're buying the property next door to your mom's. I don't know if she's interested or not, but we would love to talk about the possibility of buying that property as well." And we did negotiate a little bit and come to an understanding that Mrs. Lewis would also, like to see her property used for community enrichment and the teaching of young people. That
Hmm.
that was really important to her as well. And so it just worked out. And so now we have these two homes which will be used to house um, young people and this land that will be used to grow and to teach.
Yeah, very exciting. What a wonderful story. And I'm excited because the house next door is just about done.
Mhm.
They're working on tile this week. And last thing they'll be doing is the kitchen.
Okay.
And then we'll be ready. I'm not sure where we're at as far as licensing goes, but we're this close
Mhm.
to getting people in beds.
Yeah.
So
And I'm excited for some of our community partners who are waiting to work with us around beds, places like Hope Sheds Light and just other community partners that are just waiting to dig in and partner with us around the beds and some of the things that we'll have available. So it's
yeah,
exciting.
very exciting. All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming out. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's very valuable. And I look forward to having you on the show again.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Thank
Yep.
you.
All right.
Appreciate your time today.
Take care.